So slugs are arable farming's biggest pest. It costs the industry around £100 million every year to control them. And that's a huge problem. And the only thing that we have to control them are molluscicide slug pellets. Now, that's not good for the environment, and it's not good for the resilience of farming.
But what about slug-resistant wheat? At Bofin Farmers, we heard about an old landrace wheat variety, Watkins 788, that had never been grown in the UK before, that scientists at the John Innes Centre had put through lab-based feeding trials and found it was consistently spurned by slugs. A group of us got together and asked if we could test this wheat for ourselves in on-farm trials.
So on the strength of that, John Innes Centre multiplied up over 2 years enough seed for the trials which went in last autumn.
Once we had the seed, we asked Bofin members who wanted to be involved and got a really good response. Over 20% of them wanted to trial the wheat, so we selected the 10 most suitable sites and the most enthusiastic farmers for the limited seed we had. Dr. Simon Griffiths leads on delivering sustainable wheats at John Innes Centre and was keen to know from the farmer trials whether the lab findings were expressed in the field. This is the important element on-farm experimentation adds when dealing with natural pests, as he explains.
On-farm trials seem to be the ideal way of doing it. If it goes the way I'd expect it to go, first of all, we need to get lucky and the trait is real. And if it is, then that is where plant breeders would come into the picture much more. As academics, we'd be able to say, here's the gene, here's the markers for it. Breeders have one perspective on the world of wheat, farmers have another. And it's great to kind of tap into that enthusiasm and those needs and say, now we're working with the farmers together and the breeders, so it's hopefully the whole is greater than the sum of the parts in that way.
So the trial design of the actual plots had to be absolutely right. They had to be the right size, we had to have the right replication to ensure we had statistically significant results. And they had to be practical so that farmers could establish the plots, and then we monitored them twice weekly for about 8 weeks afterwards. And we used an app on a mobile phone from Husk Data to record them.
The farmers in the trials delivered the size and spread of sites needed, but also valuable feedback for more feeding trials. We wanted to know how some of the more modern wheats stacked up against the Watkins 788. But for this, we needed about 1,000 more slugs, so we appealed to Bofin members and 34 enrolled as slug scouts, who were provided all that was needed to collect slugs and send them in to John Innes Centre for more feeding trials. The results showed again that Watkins 788 was consistently spurned by slugs.
And there are 3 key things that were really important about this trial. Firstly, the trial would never have taken place if it hadn't been for the interest of farmers. That research would probably be languishing somewhere and no one would have taken it up if farmers hadn't shown an interest and really wanted to put this wheat to the test. The second important aspect about this is that we did a proper scientific trial, up to the publishable standard that you would expect from a professional trials technician. And third, we have learned so much about slug feeding behaviour and also about how beneficials behave in the field as well. And that is important. There may never be a slug-resistant wheat, but the information and the knowledge that we're gathering and that we can share with others will really help move on how we control slugs and how we can stop our dependency on this single chemical form of slug control.